Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:36. And Stone Temple Pilots at Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
It's going to be a bit unsettled today, as Dan Brown put it. But mainly dry.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Well, unsettled means it's not quite settled, and it's not quite unset. I don't know how that works.
So Dan hasn't figured it out.
No, it's high of 70 today with some rain showers. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 72. It is 56 right now in downtown Springfield.
Now, I can't tell you what's going on in this show because I just got here 2 hours ago.
We are unsettled as well.
Very much so. I can tell you this. We got tickets to see Tom Segura at the Mass Mutual Center. He's going to be there on the 22nd of May, and we have tickets.
I'm going to that.
Are you really?
I have a date for that.
A date?
I do.
What's the dude's name?
His name is Alex, and he's my boss. And him and I are going as a couple.
You have my thoughts.
Isn't that nice?
It's sweet.
Yeah.
That's delightful.
That's right.
Well, anyway, we have tickets to that show, and they could be yours later on this morning. There's that and more.
You can join us on our date night.
Is there dinner before the show?
For us, not for everybody else.
It's Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:51, and Bruce Springsteen with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a bit unsettled today. That's what Dan Brown said. A bit unsettled.
All right.
Which is much like what this show is every day.
Every single day.
Bit unsettled. Cloudy with some rain showers. High is 70. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 72. It is 56 right now in downtown Springfield.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
Well, Airbnb isn't just for renting houses anymore. Founder and CEO Brian Chesky announced that they're adding new services. These include things like massages and personal training, plus experiences tailored to specific locations, like a pastry-making class in Paris or a gallery tour in New York City. Oh, and you'll be able to rent celebrities. Chesky says he has dozens of famous people ready to participate. Initial offerings will include a day playing football and eating barbecue with Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, and day-long experiences with Sabrina Carpenter and Megan Thee Stallion.
How thrilling.
First of all, how desperate are these celebrities that they're willing to hang out with somebody for a day that they don't even know? That's the thing. Like, you don't even know what kind of person you're going to get. Somebody could have a lot of money and be able to shell out for this kind of thing.
Right.
But you don't know what personality. Is it somebody you'd want to hang out with?
Well, I mean, if you had nothing else going on for a weekend.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to hang out with Patrick Mahomes?
No, not at all. Or Sabrina Carpenter or Megan Thee Stallion.
Of the three, I go with Mahomes, but that's just me.
Chesky is hoping Airbnb will get people off their damn phones. Quote, AI is magical, but you know what's more magical than AI? The real world. And people in relationships and memories.
Hey, I hate to break it to you. If you got people on the off their phones,
yeah,
they wouldn't be able to go
book
on
an Airbnb. Right.
And by the way, the first thing you ask when you rent an Airbnb is, how's the Wi-Fi?
It probably sucks.
Probably.
It's probably not even good. It's the end of an era for Eva Longoria. She's sworn off doing sexy photo shoots, and we have her 6-year-old son, Santiago, to blame for that. Quote, I think, oh God, he's going to see this one day. I definitely think more about that, what I want out in the world, because my son is going to see it. I think about whether he'd be proud of something or might be embarrassed. Listen, it could be worse. It could be Kim Kardashian. You think those kids haven't stumbled across a Google search yet?
You know, I totally get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
She's a 50-year-old woman. It's the same reason why I stopped doing sexy photographs.
Photo shoots, yeah.
You get to a certain age, you say, hey, you know what, enough is enough.
She says now that she's 50, she prioritizes differently and doesn't feel like she has to say yes to every opportunity. She adds, quote, I'm spending more time with my family, working less, and doing more of what I love. Being financially secure helps with those decisions. But I feel I've worked hard enough to say no now.
It's like I wrote that myself.
Yeah.
Even though I've got all this sectionist that could be shared, I've opted to keep it to myself.
Her head stole the words from your heart, right?
It's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
One of the stars of Happy Gilmore passed away recently. Nobody knows how old he was, but he was estimated to be at least 80, and he may have been as old as 100.
Who is that?
He wasn't human. His name was Morris. He was the alligator. He played the alligator who bit off Chub Peterson's hand and was later killed and beheaded by Happy. Morris had a long career in Hollywood from 1975 to 2006. His films included the classic cult horror classic Alligator in 1980. Oh, that's a good one. 1994's Interview with a Vampire and Dr. Dolittle 2 in 2001. Morris spent his twilight years at a place called the Colorado Gator Farm. They plan to have him stuffed so he can, quote, scare small children for many years to come, the way he would have wanted that.
Yeah. Where does an alligator keep his SAG-AFTRA card? Because to get all that acting work, you need to be a member of the union.
He just shoves it in his Crocs. You see?
His Crocs.
You see? He's going to wear his Crocs.
His alligator shoes.
Yeah. ABC announced its fall schedule yesterday, and it includes just one show, 911 Nashville, starring Chris O'Donnell, Jessica Capshaw, Kimberly Williams-Paisley, and Leanne Rimes. It'll take over the Thursday night spot previously occupied by Dr. Odyssey. The fate of that show is still up in the air. I never even knew that existed.
I didn't have any idea that was an actual thing.
Over on Disney Plus, Kristen Ritter will return as Jessica in Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. FX, another subsidiary of Disney, announced that Season 4 of The Bear will hit Hulu in its entirety on June 25th.
That's the only show you've mentioned that I've seen.
The Bear.
The Bear.
Do you like that one?
Yeah, it's all right.
They also unveiled the trailer for Kim Kardashian's legal drama All Fair, which is coming to Hulu, and so is she, sometime in the fall.
Well, she must have had something to say.
No, she had nothing to say about that. She
Really?
has something to say about something else a little bit later on in this segment.
Fair enough.
Matter of fact, about a minute and a half away from saying that. We're about a month away from the official start of summer. The summer solstice is June 20th, which means it's almost time for a new song of the summer. What do you think it'll be?
Oh, God, I don't even know.
Google Trends shared the top search songs of each summer since 2010. Back in 2010, Love the Way You Lie with Eminem and Rihanna. 2011 was Super Bass by Nicki Minaj.
Sure.
2012 was Mercy by Kanye West.
Yes.
Well, that kind of aged well, didn't it?
Not really.
2013, Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. 2014, Fancy from Iggy Azalea. 2015, The Hills from The Weeknd. I think it's Weekend.
Weekend, yeah.
Panda in 2016 by Designer. Despacito. I remember that one.
Are you going through all the ones up until last year?
Yeah, well, I got to fill a minute and a half before we get to the Kim
that's
Kardashian thing. WAP. Or WAP. WAP.
Yes.
By Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. That was 2020.
Okay.
Old Town Road was in 2019. I skipped over that one. Fancy Like by Walker Hayes. We're talking about Applebee's.
Right.
Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. Try That in a Small Town from Jason Aldean. And Not Like Us from Kendrick Lamar. Hey, look at that. Perfect timing.
Man, right
How
on the
did
nose.
you know? How did I know that was going to happen so we can get to the Kim Kardashian headline, who reportedly told close friends that she gives Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce 3 more public appearances before she writes a breakup anthem called Tight Ended. Because she feels that they're going to break up soon.
Well, she must have something to say.
Oh, my God, the last time I watched something collapse that fast was when Ray J bent me like a lawn chair and fed my whispering eye a kielbasa enema in that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95.
Caitlin?
Well, I never got that down and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but I did once play the rusty xylophone on her slurp socket while she sang Back Up to Fleetwood Mac.
Which song?
Everywhere.
Oh, yeah. What are you trying to say?
I was face deep. We're not getting there.
Okay.
I was face deep in her fudge drapes like a raccoon rooting through a satin-lined dumpster. And all I know is by the end, my nose smelled like burnt hair and lemon pledge. It looked like I'd snorted Paula Dean's bra. Dredged in butter, y'all.
Now what are you trying to say?
Now what I'm trying to say is after an hour of motorboating that ham hammock, my face looked like I got slapped by a jellyfish soaked in Aquanet.
No, there's really only one way.
Nothing
to
less.
take the sting out of a jellyfish bite.
Nothing less than Aquanet. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, there's only one way.
Thing. And that is your Hollywood. I thought it was on the leg, though. And that is your Hollywood trash on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Well, folks, a hell of a day for baseball. Yesterday, Commissioner Rob Manfred announced that he'll be reinstating both the late Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and removing their name from baseball's permanent ineligible list. This will then allow the Baseball Hall of Fame to reconsider them for future enshrinement. Really? So soon? Seems like such a hasty decision. I mean, it's been 36 years since Pete Rose accepted a lifetime ban for betting on baseball, and it's only been 104 years since Shoeless Joe was banned for the infamous Black Sox scandal in 1919. My question is, why the rush? You see, now that it's perfectly legal to bet on sporting events, one might say this decision was long overdue. Others would tell you that betting on your own team or on baseball or throwing a World Series for that matter negatively affects the integrity of the game. But then again, so do steroids, spitballs, cork bats, video cameras, pine tar, sign stealing, and banging on trash cans. And while all that stuff can be seen as being integrity deficient, apparently you can't indict the dead. And since Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose are no longer with us, I think it's fair to say they've probably been punished enough. Baseball also lifted lifetime bans on 16 other now deceased players, all of whom accused of gambling on baseball, none of them likely candidates for enshrinement. So, does this mean that Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson are suddenly going to rise from the dead and walk into the Baseball Hall of Fame? No, it does not. The Baseball Writers Association of America would still have to vote them in. But now that there's nothing preventing them from getting in, other than the normal hostility and self-importance that has long been a trademark of the Baseball Writers Association for generations, then I suppose anything is possible. All I know is, because he's been dead for 74 years, I expect Shoeless Joe's acceptance speech to be relatively short. And since Pete Rose only died last September, I'm pretty sure he already had something prepared. Either way, at least he finally has a better chance, which is better than no chance at all. Just a shame that he's not alive to see it happen. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Gee, the propane really enhances the flavor of these ribs. No one has ever said that in the entire history of grilling meat. Get a Traeger wood pellet grill today at Rocky's and get true wood-fired grilled flavor. Traeger's fully digital Woodbridge grill, only $700 right now at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:15. And a Whitesnake with Bax and Nagle at Rock 102.
It is going to be an unsettling day, according to Dan Brown. It's
Kinda
unsettled.
Kind of like you eat like a fatty like acidic meal like after 7 o'clock.
He didn't say unsettling day. He said a bit unsettled. I don't even know what that means.
That almost sounds like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Rain showers maybe later on this afternoon with a high of 70. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 72. It's 56 right now in downtown Springfield. Well, it finally happened.
I know. It took Pete Rose to die before he could finally get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. By the way, he's not yet into the Hall of Fame, so let's not jump to conclusions here. He would still have to be voted in, and you know how the baseball writers always have an axe to grind.
Yeah. But he's eligible.
Yes.
And the next time he'll be eligible, what do they say, 2028, I think?
Yeah, it's something like that. All I know is that the baseball writers have no reason to not vote him in other than their own hostility and their own hatred towards anything that, questions the integrity of baseball.
So what?
Which is just about like everything that's ever happened to baseball in the last 150 years.
So you're cool with it, right? You're cool with.
Well, I'm not surprised by it.
Yeah.
I figured at some point, Pete Rose would have to die before any of this would happen. Now, Shoeless Joe Jackson has been dead for 74 years.
Yeah.
But there are 16 other players, most of which have all been banned from baseball for gambling. I think there's one who was like selling auto parts, inappropriately, what have you. But everybody else, gambling. Shoeless Joe, probably an unfortunate omission over the last 74 years, but you can't let him in and not let Pete Rose. So they literally had to wait for Pete Rose to die. And now that he's dead, he's probably not going to be showing up for his induction ceremony.
See, I'm less concerned about the betting part and more concerned about the inappropriate relationship he had with a 16-year-old back when he was like 30 years old. You remember that whole thing?
Vaguely.
He acknowledged that he did have a relationship with a woman, but he said it started when she was 16, which, in his defense, was the age of consent in Ohio. So that makes it all that much better.
Well, then there you go.
He said they never had sex outside of the state.
Well, that's encouraging. That's good.
What's high in the middle and round on both ends?
Yeah.
Ohio.
Well, thank God she didn't go on road trips.
Yeah, see, that's kind of where,
Except, when it comes to baseball, when it comes to Bart Giamatti making the decision to ban him for life, or, telling him he has to be banned for life, the argument can be made, well, that doesn't really affect the integrity of baseball. It just affects the integrity of Pete Rose and anyone associated with hiding any of that information. To me, it's still a stain on baseball if you got a dirtbag playing baseball. But this decision was based upon whether he may or may not have affected the outcome of a game simply because he bet on a game.
Yeah, but I'm pointing out the fact that they were harping on this the entire time about the betting thing. When in the same turn, he was accused of doing these horrible things with a minor.
Wait, are you suggesting that statutory rape is worse than betting on baseball?
Well, in some people's eyes, it is. Believe it or not, yeah.
Well, I am flabbergasted by that insinuation.
And I just find it kind of all these years they were harping on the fact that he was betting, he was gambling on baseball. When how many other people probably gambled on baseball and didn't get caught for it? That's
tons. Tons have done that, and tons of players have done worse. Mm-hmm. Who are in the Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb killed a guy, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, but that's what I mean. I mean,
but how could you deny those statistics?
Where do you separate the art from the artist? You know what I mean?
Well, it's really not as hard as you might think. Sometimes it's easy to say, "Hey, that guy's a scumbag. I'm not voting for him."
No, but take a guy like Michael Jackson, for example, right? Never barred from any kind of winning any kind of awards or Grammys or Hall of Fame. Is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't even know if he's in the Hall of Fame.
He probably is, yeah.
But it never barred from any of that stuff. But all of the accusations that he had against crimes against children were like, well, you know what? He might have done that stuff, but Billie Jean was a toe tapper.
It really was when you think about it. Such a great song. But he was never convicted of any of those things.
Right.
At least Pete Rose was forced to say, yeah, I did it, and I will accept a lifetime ban. And as soon as my lifetime ends, then my ban will be lifted, hopefully.
I don't know. It's just funny how we pick and choose which people to be angry with.
It's interesting. If you go, did you ever see 8 Men Out? The film about the Black Sox?
Yeah, that was a great movie.
It was a great movie. And, the way the story shakes out is the guy that owned the Chicago White Sox was a dirtbag, a cheap, rotten, no good bum. I think that most people who are alive in 1919 would probably agree with that if you asked them if any of them were available. All these players were sick of working for this guy because they all felt like they were being abused. And they were a great team. They had won. They had an amazing season in 1919. But to get back at this guy for being a jerk of a boss, they threw the World Series. And all of a sudden, they're the bad guys because they threw the World Series. They wouldn't have thrown the World Series had they been working for a decent boss that wasn't a cheapskate and a tightwad and a backstabbing bastard. So do you blame them Shoeless Joe Jackson, the best player on that team, 74 years. He's been dead. This thing happened 104 years ago, and you're still blaming him?
Well,
We've all worked for a boss that was a jerk. I'd be happy to name a few of them for you right now.
But would you compromise your integrity over the fact that you hated your boss so much? Or would you just,
Of course I did. It's called contract negotiations.
my point being, like, you wouldn't do anything nefarious because you were upset at the way the company treated you, by the way somebody treated you.
In fairness, back in the day, I did steal a whole hell of a lot of office supplies.
Okay, but I'm talking about, like, in my experience, I've been angry at the company, and the bosses usually do themselves in.
I told you.
Yeah.
You'd outlast all these sons of bitches, and you were right.
If you just wait long enough, they'll eventually do themselves in, and we've had many of those over the years who have made it.
Unless they can you first.
Yeah.
If you write it out, you'll outlast them all.
Yeah. Well, this guy better not get any ideas upstairs.
I don't think he has any ideas upstairs.
He's the permanent interim manager at this point.
Yes, I don't see that changing anytime soon.
But I'm saying, like, just because you were angry at somebody doesn't give you the right to do something that would fix the outcome of something.
Well, that's ultimately the argument for it. In the Pete Rose situation, though, people have been divided. Should he be inducted in the Hall of Fame? Many people say, well, no, absolutely not. He may have affected the outcomes of games and damaged the integrity of baseball. And there are many people that will tell you it ain't the Hall of Fame unless you have Charlie Hustle enshrined in that building.
And I can see both sides of the argument, too, because, if you're betting on baseball, you obviously are expecting an outcome. How do you know that he wasn't, kind of fixing that in a way for himself to do that?
It's a question you can never fully answer. All I know is if you took every scumbag and idiot and bum and slob and backstabbing rat bastard out of the Baseball Hall of Fame, you'd have nobody in there but Teddy Ballgame himself.
Wow.
And that would be it.
When's Curt Schilling getting in?
Probably not as fast as Pete Rose will get in. Are you
sure?
Probably not.
Yeah, but see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Curt Schilling did this, this amazing thing, and he, faked the bloody sock and all that stuff, And I'll say fake.
Go ahead, say it. Say it. I'm not buying it, but go ahead.
But really, the thing that will prevent him from being in the Hall of Fame is by the dirty he did to Tim Wakefield's family, him and his family, by announcing that cancer diagnosis.
Actually, he was kind of on his way to never getting in even before that.
Yeah, but can you imagine that was the thing that finally, he's done plenty of other things, like bankrupt,
the state of Rhode Island.
State of Rhode Island and all that stuff. But it was that thing that finally pushed it over the edge that probably a lot of sports writers aren't going to consider him for a Hall of Fame nomination.
I think in that case, the book was being slowly closed.
Yeah,
slowly closed, and it was almost ready to seal it shut. And as soon as the Tim Wakefield disaster happened, then slam, that thing's closed forever and never going to get reopened.
But he didn't do anything illegal. He was just an a-hole.
That's it.
That's what I'm saying. It's funny how we pick and choose. As a society, which people are the ones that are shunned.
It's 626 at Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's 628 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Jan Brown will have the unsettling forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
We're going to have some tickets to see Tom Segura at the Mass Mutual Center later on today. He's going to be there on May 22nd. It was a great comedy show at the Mass Mutual Center, so keep listening for your chance to win.
All right. Are you ready to laugh?
I am.
All right, let's laugh.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
On Rock 102.
I make you laugh.
Springfield's classic rock.
In their small town, a couple was famous for the husband being 102 years old and his wife being 98 years old. They were both in terrific condition, working their farm every day and having the bodies of much younger people.
Mm-hmm.
One day, a visitor to the village, curious about the couple, approached the old man at his farm. The old man was cutting wood without a shirt on, sweat glistening on a body that seemed to belong to a man half his age. The visitor introduced himself and asked the old man, "I hear you're 102. "That's correct," said the old man with a smile. "Wow, I must say you look in amazing shape." He goes, "Thank you," said the old man. "Do you mind if I ask, how am I this healthy at my age?" said the old man. "Help me carry this wood back home and I'll tell you." Right?
Okay.
So the visitor agrees. He goes, "You see," said the old man, "I've been married for 75 years. Now, when we got married, I made a little arrangement with the wife. Every time we have an argument, the loser of said argument must run for 5 kilometers. Seeing that we have a pretty typical marriage, I've been running 5 kilometers almost every day for 75 years. That's why I'm in such great shape that I am." And the visitor says, "Well, if that's the case, how come your wife is in such great shape too?" And he goes, "Well," said the old man, "she usually runs after me to make sure I finish the whole 5K. Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
Because she's on his ass all the time.
She's on him all the time.
I'm surprised he's still alive after
yeah.
that kind of endurance."
Yeah.
Bax and Nagle in the morning on Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock.
6:34 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Aquapump, an expert in all water supply systems from the well to the pump and into the house. His local radio icon, Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. A Chicopee man was sentenced to probation after pleading guilty to negligent operation of a motor vehicle in connection with the 2023 deadly crash on Route 9 in Belchertown. On December 1st of 2023, officers were called to a 2-vehicle crash at the intersection of Federal Street and Allen Street. Excuse me.
Just let her rip.
No, I don't want to let it rip.
Come on.
Just,
Be a man about it.
The Northwestern DA's office said that 54-year-old Christopher Evrard of Belchertown was ejected from his vehicle and taken to Bay State Medical Center for serious injuries. The other driver, 31-year-old Cody Reynolds of Chicopee, stayed at the incident and cooperated with police. Evrard died 2 weeks later as a result of the crash. The investigation revealed Reynolds failed to yield the right-of-way to a car being driven by Evrard. In a statement to 22 News on Tuesday, Reynolds pleaded guilty to negligent operation of a motor vehicle and was placed on probation for 3 years. The conditions of probation include attending a safe driving class, not obtaining a new driver's license for at least another 60 days, and in the event he obtains a license, he must only operate a motor vehicle as required for his employment with the U.S. Marines. Sounds like just a tragic accident.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like there's any ill intent at that one. Let's see. A woman was arrested in connection with a stabbing in Hadley early Tuesday morning. In a news release from the Hadley Police Department, officers were called to a report of a stabbing shortly before 1 a.m. on Tuesday. Upon arrival at the west end of Hadley. Where's the west end?
Slightly to the left of the south end.
Is that right before you get into... No. The west end would be Northampton, wouldn't it?
No, I think it's a part of South Hadley, just the west end.
Anyway, officers located the victim who was stabbed in the arm. Police said that his injuries were minor and hospitalization was not required. The suspect, 27-year-old Jessica Tandazzo Castillo of Hadley, had already left the area at approximately 8 a.m. Tandazzo Castillo's vehicle was located by officers in Northampton. She was arrested and charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. It was also revealed that she was wanted on a court-issued arrest warrant. And that's all the information that we have.
Huh.
How about that?
All right. Well, maybe next hour.
There is a traffic alert for this weekend. Roadhog! The Spirit of Springfield is notifying drivers of a traffic advisory that will be in place ahead of the world's largest pancake breakfast on Saturday. Starting on Thursday, no parking signs will be posted and enforced by local law enforcement in the area of Main Street from State Street to Bridge Street. At 10 a.m. on Friday, Spirit of Springfield officials stated that barricades will be placed where Main Street intersects with Bridge Street, ends at State Street. Vehicles at that time will be unable to pass where the barricades are placed, but traffic will be permitted to cross Main Street from Boland Way to Harrison Avenue, traveling down Court Street to City Hall Place and back to East Columbus Avenue.
You know, the same rerouting of traffic that's happened for the last 35 years.
Well, they just want to let people know that it's happening. I think that's important because some people forget, hey, I forgot that pancake breakfast was coming up this Saturday.
How can you forget it? Should be on everyone's calendar.
Which, by the way, Judy Matt will be here in the studio with BJ Calvi on Friday. I know.
I have to leave early on. I got to leave early on Friday, so
things to do.
Is she bringing in like a whole smorgasbord of food for just you?
Let me be a Dave Coombs and tell everybody that you're going to an important medical appointment for your health.
Actually, I'm not. It's something totally different.
No, I know. I'm just trying to be
I know.
advocate here.
I miss the days when my medical privacy was violated
Listen,
by fellow employees.
it's when you got Coombsed in the mouth. You ever have Coombs in your mouth before?
No,
Are you sure?
Not in the mouth, please.
All right. In your face, at least.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, and they say on traffic, Saturday at 4 a.m., traffic will be closed in those areas, and the Springfield Police Department and the DPW will have vehicles posted in the area of as hard closures to prevent all drivers from entering those areas. It's going to be like quarantined off, like in that movie Outbreak with Morgan Freeman and Dustin Hoffman.
It's actually quite an operation. Mm-hmm. The way they organize these big events. Same thing like with the fireworks. You got to shut down the Memorial Bridge. In this case, they got to shut down Main Street and reroute traffic all around it because you see you can't have cars driving up and down Main Street when you got all those tables and tablecloths and folding chairs in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we found that out the hard way.
Oh, you drove through it one time, did you?
Sure did.
Got pancake batter all over your front fender. This was like a big story. I got a news alert from this yesterday. The season's first great white shark sighting was confirmed in Massachusetts. They act like this doesn't happen every single year.
Except it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And aquarium scientists are urging the public to be aware of their surroundings and report shark sightings of heading to the beach this summer. The New England Aquarium is urging the public to keep an eye out, be aware of their surroundings, and report shark sightings. The New England Aquarium says that on Sunday, a person noticed a pool of blood in the water off Smith's Point, the farthest west end of Nantucket. Examining the water, the person saw a seal swimming towards the beach with a shark following it.
See, now, if the story had been that a shark was found in Wilbraham, that's a news story that would probably shock everybody. No, really? Where? And you say it's Speck Pond. Then all of a sudden, that's a news story. You tell everybody that there's shark activity off Cape Cod. Oh, really? I never heard of such a thing. You hear about it every year.
Listen, I told you last week.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
What was it? When I went to go help the folks at Keller Williams build those beds for every bed for every child.
Yes.
Great event, except for the Jimmy Buffett music that was playing.
Yeah, that'll kill the mood.
And I for days I had fins in my head.
Oh my God!
Fins to the left, fins to the right, and you're the only bait in town. He's talking about a chick.
Yes.
With the sharks at the bar. And that kind of reminds me of this poor seal swimming in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And next thing you know, he's chum.
Yeah. Photos of the deceased seal were examined by shark expert John Chisholm, an adjunct scientist at the aquarium.
I know you protected the pronunciation of that name just for the sake of being compliant.
Hey, you got any of those Chisholm pics? Has anybody got any of those Chisholm pics of the bloody seal? That means multiple things.
Yes.
Chisholm's got some pics of this bloody seal.
That's all right.
That's the only reason I did this story. Yeah. We all know sharks exist, but it's the Chisholm.
Right. Now, if Mr. Chisholm were, say, like a reporter, and he was covering his beat,
then all of
a sudden you've got a different story every week.
Now, look at that. That's a tight seal. Hey, report the damn news and leave my private life out of it. What Whatever happened to Kippadata anyway?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he? I don't even still alive.
I don't even know if he is or not. I mean, he was probably in his 50s at the time he wrote that song, right?
I think Kippadata.
Yeah.
No, he died in 2019.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
How old was he?
He never would have made it.
How old would he have been today?
He died at the age of 75.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Yes.
Anyway, if you're ever wondering how much cash can be crammed inside a teddy bear, well, it's more than you have sitting around. Authorities in New Jersey raided a massage parlor last week, which was suspected of being involved in prostitution and money laundering.
And a massage parlor?
Yeah.
Never heard of this.
And it was a big success. They recovered more than $750,000, including $600,000 in cash that was sewn inside a giant teddy bear. $600,000 in cash, not just a phone with a rich Venmo account.
You know, if Whitey Bulger was still alive today and he heard that you could hide cash inside a teddy bear, as opposed to, say, like in a wall,
well,
he'd be kicking himself.
The manager was 47-year-old Danila Danello. She was charged with first-degree money laundering, second-degree promoting organized street crime, third-degree promoting prostitution, and fourth-degree maintaining a house of prostitution. Sadly, there wasn't a teddy bear-specific charge.
Not animal cruelty?
I don't know. Have you ever brought your kid to a Build-A-Bear? It's pretty much $650,000 you're pumping into those damn things.
Even a Vermont teddy bear is going to run you.
The bear's only $20, but if you want clothes and a heart and all that other stuff, that's going to cost you extra.
I mean, it's all dependent on how much you really love your child.
Yeah. 4 other women between the ages of 26 and 45 were each charged with prostitution. Well, when in New Jersey.
I guess.
Yeah. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, it's going to be a little unsettling out there today. That's according to Dan Brown. High of 70. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 72. It's 56 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:51 and Queen with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be unsettling today with a high of 70. That's Dan Brown's words. And tomorrow, rain with a high of 72. It's 56 right now in downtown Springfield.
Join Steve Nagle from Rock 102 and the road crew at Geisler's this Saturday from 10 to noon in Granby, Connecticut. And then Dan Williams and the road crew are going to the Geisler's in Agawam for sidewalk sales you don't want to miss. That's between 2 and 4. They'll have deep discounts on products, your favorite items, and you can enjoy a hot dog and soda for only $1. I would like a hot dog and a soda for only $1.
Well, I'd take the hot dog and soda for $1 because you're supporting like local veterans groups when you do that. But they also inside, if you make your donation to the Veterans Fund. But then if you don't, if you're not a hot dog lover, there's hot food inside the store.
Oh, see, there you go.
They got. I was telling you last week they had the fish fry.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
huh?
man, it was pretty damn
awesome.
good. So there you go.
So that's this Saturday from 10 to 12 at Geisler's in Granby, Connecticut with Steve, and 2 to 4 at Geisler's in Agawam with Dan Williams from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
In the age of pumpkin spice spam, you've heard about that, right?
Yeah.
And mustard flavored ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
This is very tame. Nutella just announced its first U.S. flavor in 61 years. So they've had more than 6 decades to think about this. Prepare to have your world rocked. The new flavor of Nutella is peanut.
Like spreadable?
Yeah.
Peanuts?
I believe that's called peanut butter.
Peanut butter. I've never heard of such a thing.
And I believe it was a man named George Washington Carver who came up with that, well over 150 years ago.
Now, will this be mixed with, like, a chocolatey deliciousness, like very much like the Nutella is?
Well, normal Nutella is chocolate and hazelnut, so I guess it's for people who like a mix of a little peanut butter in it.
I see.
Yeah.
Hasn't Reese's been doing this for a while?
Well, they announced it, but it doesn't hit stores for another year.
Then why announce it if it's not available? We're going to forget about it by then.
I don't know. Your world won't actually be rocked until the spring of 2026. But what a lackluster announcement. Hey, guess what? We took something that has been around forever and mixed it with Nutella. We're cutting out the middleman of you having to put Nutella and peanut butter on a sandwich.
Yeah, we're doing something that only 3 or 4 other peanut butter companies have done forever.
Does Nutella,
but our way.
Does Nutella really need like a boost? I mean, it's a pretty popular item.
You could have made the same argument. Did we need to start messing around with Oreos?
Yeah.
But the answer is no. We didn't really need to do that.
I like those brownie ones that are pretty good.
Many of them are good, but just Oreos, just plain Oreos,
mint Oreos. Come on,
I'm not saying they're not great, but to me that's an entirely different cookie.
Fudge covered Oreos.
You're
right see, there is something you can have a little variety with, but Nutella is Nutella. It shouldn't be any. You just mix it with whatever you want. If you mix it with the cherry jelly, you ever have that?
No.
Cherry jelly and Nutella sandwich?
Really?
Absolutely perfect.
It sounds terrific.
Yeah. Follow me for more recipes.
It's just about 6:55 with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102.
Hey, it's Steve.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, tonight is Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Boston Celtics at home against the New York Knicks. Now, I don't think I need to remind anybody that the Celtics are trailing in this series 3-1 and could face some elimination despite playing at home. They already lost the first 2 games at home in this series, but were able to stay alive by winning Game 3 in New York. Tonight, after losing Game 4, it's up to the Celtics to figure out how to win the next 3 games and do it without Jason Tatum, because I'm pretty sure he's not doing very much for the next 12 to 18 months after blowing out his Achilles the other night in the fourth quarter. Yeah, you're right. Jason Tatum out for this series, the next series, and every other game for potentially the next year and a half, possibly even 2. Because you see, that's not the sort of injury where you grab a bunch of Band-Aids and hope for the best. It's the sort of injury that requires surgery, which he's already had, and a very long and grueling period of rehab and physical therapy. Thankfully, I hear the hospitals in Boston are pretty good, and it should be pointed out that other players have come back from the same exact injury in the past. Hall of Famers like Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Chauncey Billups, Dominique Williams have all blown out their Achilles, and all those guys were able to resume their playing careers. Some guys took longer to come back than others. Thankfully, Jason Tatum is a young man and might be able to just snap right back into place. Now, while that would be great, the reality is, without Jason Tatum, it is possible that the Celtics are in a hell of a lot of trouble. And while some might suggest that our thoughts should be with Jason Tatum and his recovery, I find that to be tomorrow's problems. Today, we're looking at the possibility the Celtics are about to get blown out in the playoffs. And while that might seem like a secondary problem in light of the situation, I would argue it is not. Sure, Jason Tatum's ankle might be in pretty bad shape. The Celtics are looking even worse without him. And frankly, I'm not comfortable with that. But hey, you never mind yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. An Ego battery-powered lawnmower has all the cutting power of a gas mower with all that stinky, expensive gasoline. Go to Rocky's, get the Ego mower for $5.99 with your Ace Rewards card that includes battery and charger. Available now at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's just about 7-11, and Journey with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
A bit unsettled today. Clouds with some rain showers possibly this afternoon and a high of 70. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 72. It is 58 right now in downtown Springfield. Do you have any red flags? Like if somebody were to, it doesn't have to be relationship-wise. I'm just talking about red flags in general of you as a human being.
You mean before I make a snap judgment at somebody?
Is that what your red flag is? You make snap judgments?
Well, no, I don't think if in order for me to make a snap judgment, there needs to be some red flag that presents itself. And it can be any number of things. I don't know if we got a real specific one.
Yeah.
I think if you're the kind of person that only talks about themselves and doesn't engage in a equal conversation, to me, that's a red flag.
Huh.
I got a real problem with that.
I've never known a salesperson here to have that.
I don't know of anybody either, Steve.
Anyway, there's a new list of online hobbies that are instant red flags, whether you hear about them on dates, with coworkers, or from family and friends on social media. Here's a few of them. You ready?
Is Civil War reenactor on that list?
You know what? I didn't even check that. It should be, but it's not.
It's not?
No. beauty pageants, particularly children's beauty pageants.
Yeah, I do kind of judge that. I mean, I hate to say it's probably shouldn't, but I judge the parent more than the kid.
Well, and that's, that was what I was saying last week about child stars, the people who thrust their children into a life of acting, and especially now knowing how, with all these Nickelodeon documentaries and all this other stuff of how children are treated, why would you put yourself, kid, through that? Only for the money. In the end,
I'm sure if you asked Drake Bell how he felt about his childhood, he'd probably have some stories to tell.
What's MLM work? What is that?
MLM work?
Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
LML meaning?
Multi-level marketing. Oh, yeah. Multi-level marketing.
Right.
Someone joked that it stands for moms losing money. Those people that are trying to sell stuff online on social media.
Right. They got in their garage. It's like a bunch of junk ready to be shipped out.
Yeah. Well, it's like Frank Costanza selling computers out of his garage. Lloyd Braun was his top salesperson.
Not giving away that water pick.
People who are into pranking. Yeah, that is kind of a red flag. If you're like just, I can see a harmless prank every once in a while.
But if you're doing it all the time, that's problematic.
Maybe a red flag would have been us years ago when we were drawing penises on each other's back windshields.
But we weren't doing it every day. It's like, you did it, I did it, and we were pretty much done with it.
It only lasted a season.
Yeah, but it's not like we spent the last 20 years doing it.
But yeah, pranking, you see these YouTube idiots all the time going up to people and starting something and getting somebody angry just for the sole purpose of getting clicks and likes on your YouTube account.
It's like those Impractical Joker guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been on our show quite a few times, but every time I watch that show, I'm just going, man, how do you live with yourself knowing that this is what you've done to eke out a career?
I'm glad you brought that up because I think a lot of those are fake. They're set up.
Of course they are.
People don't realize, you can't trick somebody into doing something and then expect all of them to sign a waiver to be on television in order to do that. And when I say I'm glad you brought that up, because this morning I'm scrolling through the TikToks, right?
Yeah.
And there was this lady talking about, have you seen this? I can't remember his name. I wish I could remember the guy's name. He's one of these guys. He calls himself Dr. Oh, damn it. I wish I could find it. Dr. Let's see. He's a guy who runs a podcast, and it's about the Dr. John Deloney, right?
Okay.
And he runs this podcast where he talks to women, and women talk about how they cheat on their husband, and they talk about it so nonchalantly. And I don't know if he gives them advice. I didn't even really watch his portion of it, but I watched a few minutes of one.
Right.
And it's like, these are clearly set up. Because who would, in their right mind, if you're cheating on your husband, why would you want it to be all over TikTok and have your voice recognized?
Unless the story is total BS.
Yeah, well, it could be a real story, but I'm convinced it's somebody. There's a series of radio stations that run across the country called War of the Roses. It's a segment. It's all fake.
Every bit of it.
Every bit of it is absolutely fake.
And the reason you know it's fake is because you can't put somebody on the air without their knowledge that they're being recorded.
Exactly, and that's what people don't understand. So it makes for a great entertainment segment, but there are too many people out there who believe that it's real. You know how phone calls are real? When you listen to Open Line Friday here at Rock 102. There's nothing fake about that. These people are just a bunch of dinks, just like... and reality is much better than fantasy.
Well, it's like it's weird to me because there are people that will act in a certain way specifically to get called out on the carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and will air their dirty laundry regardless of how stupid it makes them look. I mean, you saw that with TV talk shows, the Jerry Springers and all those other things. Some of those were fake, but for a lot of them, These are people that just wanted to get on TV, and it didn't matter what kind of embarrassment they would cause to do it. You ever see the show Catfish?
Yes.
On MTV.
Yeah.
So basically, for those of you who have never seen it, it's these guys that investigate these stories of people who are pretending to be other people in order to have like
a relationship. Or whatever, yeah.
And oftentimes what happens is they will confront the person who has done the catfishing, and they're not who they say they are. It's usually a disaster. But I've always found it interesting that if you were running a catfishing scam on somebody,
why would you
agree to appear on television where you are just going to get proven to be a lying dirtbag?
Fake.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you wonder whether it's fake, but then you also wonder, maybe if I start catfishing these people, maybe I'll get on Catfish.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember years ago, and I think I've brought this example up before. There was a show that my late wife and I were really into called Operation Repo, and it was on, I think it was like True TV or one of those channels. And it was about a guy who ran a towing company that would go and repossess cars, and then you'd see all the drama happening by the person coming out and going, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're towing my car," and And there was one specific episode, and I just remember it was a woman who they were towing like her Corvette or something. She didn't make the payments on the Corvette.
Mm-hmm.
So he's hooking up to the Corvette, and she is like flipping out. But they're showing her full face and everything. They're not blurring anything out. And it occurred to me then, who in their right mind, because you have to sign a waiver in order to be on television. You can't just walk up to it was in her private garage. It wasn't like it was out in the open. Who would agree to be on camera like that after one of the worst moments of your life where you're being called out for not being able to pay your bills and your car's getting towed?
Right.
And she was very dramatic, and I could just tell by the way she was acting like, that's not even real rage. That's like fake rage. So then I go down this rabbit hole on YouTube and check out this is Operation Repo fake. And sure enough, they show this clip of this Operation Repo show going into this like field-like area near a creek. And in the background is this house that is like half built, like it's a like a frame of a house that is under construction. In the same clip, they split the screen and they show the movie Jackass in the same exact location with the same exact house in the background because it was a movie set.
Yeah.
It was not a real thing.
But it can be repurposed for another show at a later time.
And while the stories may be real, you can base something off true. You can't have a good episode every single time. I bet you most repos don't involve all of that kind of drama. I'm sure there are some where a guy comes out with a gun or some kind of, some ridiculous active thing, but you're never going to get somebody to agree to do that. And I think there's too many people who take things that they see on the internet and they see on the television that base it as truth. Oh my God, look at what I just saw. But you're not seeing the full picture of it.
Yeah. I think a lot of those things are faked and or at least manipulated. Like they'll create situations that will create drama because it makes for better TV. But I remember, I think I told you this, my old college roommate was the camera guy for that show with Gary Busey.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember talking to my friend Jay about the show. I said, well, how much of this was fake? And he said, dude, I wish it was fake. He said, it was never about, can we get Gary to go ballistic? Yeah. It was a matter of how quickly will he go ballistic, because that's just about what he does every day. I said, well, isn't that, no offense, but isn't that perhaps a little exploitive of a man who has
mental illness,
brain damage from a motorcycle accident? He said, oh, yeah. But the pay was
It's
terrific.
entertainment. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like,
But
not
even,
everything is.
But even still, it never occurred. I still couldn't imagine how Gary Busey or anybody managing his career would agree to this, considering the potential damage it would do to his reputation.
We're almost out of time here, and we didn't get to the rest of the red-flagged hobbies. Yeah, we went off on a tangent. Let me just list them real quick. Ready?
Sure.
People who do scratch lotto tickets, like a lot of them, because it's not just lotto tickets. It's probably a bigger picture of a bigger gambling problem.
Right.
CrossFit, yeah, those people are psychos.
They're not right.
They're psychos.
They're out of their minds.
It's like a cult.
It is a cult.
Collecting taxidermy animals.
Yeah, that's gross.
Swooning over serial killers. I know a lot of people that are into that true
really
crime
into it.
stuff. Being super into celebrities in their lives.
Yeah, that is a red flag.
Collecting Disney memorabilia. Someone said 2 Disney adults can be happy together, but they shouldn't try to have relationships with normal people. Someone said having to watch every single Hallmark movie. Making AI girlfriends and arguing with them. It's supposed to be a happy relationship.
Yeah, you're paying to have a bad relationship with something that's not real.
Trolling people online for fun. How many times have we seen that every day?
You and I were talking about that off the air just a moment ago.
Yeah, influencing or or being fans of an online influencer culture. Someone also said a girl once told me her hobby was scrolling TikTok. That's a lazy hobby.
It's a lazy hobby.
Someone else said when they have social media as a hobby, I mean, like getting mad at you for eating before they can, and then take and retake the perfect picture for Instagram for social media. Like they keep taking pictures of their food, and then not having a hobby at all or judging other people's hobby. That's what I'm guilty of.
Yeah, of course.
That's my red flag.
Two red flags. Now that we've had this conversation, the 2 things that you could tell me that are immediately going to toss up a red flag. If you describe yourself as an influencer, we're done with that conversation.
I describe myself as an under the influencer.
That makes more sense. I can live with that. The other one would be if you describe yourself as a life coach. We're also done here.
Well, that makes me a happy boy.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's 724 on Rock 102. It's 728 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown has the full forecast for you.
This week on Baxi's musical podcast, my guest has been Barry Andrews from the band Shriekback. He started that band back in the early 80s with Dave Allen from the band Gang of Four. Dave died last month at the age of 70. We talk about that and a bunch of other stuff, including their 18th album called Monument, which is now out. It's really, really cool. Check out that interview on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, rock102.com, as well as the fully downloadable Rock 102 app. It's all brought to you by Metro Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
I know you have, not that you complain about it, but you make a comment about how my coffee is like jet fuel.
It's
pretty strong.
It's really strong, yes.
So it's like a thick milkshake, as I like to put it.
Usually people don't drink coffee by the slice.
Well, I like it that way. But most of us are not looking to spend an arm and a leg for a coffee. But if you want the most expensive morning possible, here's a pricey Starbucks order, which also may come with a hospital bill. Someone figured out that the most expensive single beverage you can order at the Starbucks is $45.
$45.
It's not a normal drink, obviously. You need to make a lot of modifications. But here's how you order it. It's a venti matcha. I don't even know how to say that. Matcha creme frappuccino with an additional 12 spots of espresso and 12 affogato-style shots. The base drink is $6.25. The 12 espresso shots is $15. The 12 affogato-style shots bump it up to another $15. And the other add-ons get there, like the mocha and dark caramel sauces, yada, yada, all that stuff. But think about all that caffeine. That's
12 espresso shots?
You're going to die. You can't do that to yourself.
That's not a $45 drink. That's at least a $1,000 drink because they're going to charge you to take the ambulance to the hospital.
Vanilla bean and chocolate malt powder and just for the hell of it, whipped cream, which is free, thank God.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. The total is $41.55, and with the tax, it can bump it up to $45. Prices may be slightly different based on location. The person who maxed this out says they were just doing it as a joke, and they didn't actually try it, which is a big missed opportunity. Although I guess it's probably smart if you value your health.
You know, you could go to any Starbucks and just ask for a coffee.
Yeah.
And that's a nice, cheap way of getting in and out of there.
You know what? I asked for a cold brew one time. It was they're like super cold brew ice or whatever, iced coffee.
Right.
And I said, could you not put the water in it? Because what they do is they take water and then they put the coffee on top of it. I'm like, I don't want the water. I want all coffee. And then they did it in the beginning, and then I was told they were no longer allowed to do that because it's too much caffeine. And I said, I think that's a bullshiznit excuse. I think it's just that you don't want to give away free coffee.
Actually, if you're the customer and you're asking for that, that's your decision whether you're having too much caffeine, not theirs.
Right. And that was just them not wanting to give away free coffee. It's an excuse. But you can pay for 12 shots of espresso in a drink.
I'd like to see it would never be me, but I'd like to see someone pack that down and see what happens to them.
See, this is why I've been sticking with the Folgers. You strengthen it up. You don't need 12 shots of espresso. You just need a cup to every 1 cup of coffee.
Folgers Crystal.
Yeah.
It's freeze dried. You want coffee? We put it away. You forget about it.
I'll even take a Sanka over that. A Sanka and a pour more.
That's what I had for breakfast.
How about a Lucky Strike to go with it, too? Smooth it out for you as it goes down your esophagus.
I'm alive with pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
It's 7:32 on Rock 102. 7:36 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. It's brought to you by Yankee Home Improvement. If you're thinking about a new walk-in shower system, call Yankee Home and mention Rock 102. Get $1,021 off, plus 50% off installation all month long. There's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Traffic alert. Roadhog. Due to a water main break at the Converse Street and Laurel Street construction site, that road will remain closed until further notice. The westbound traffic will remain open for travel on Converse Street to Longmeadow Street. All other traffic will be detoured. Some residents may experience little to no water pressure until the issue is resolved. You imagine that? You're doing all that construction down there and then a water main breaks. I wonder if it was a natural reaction or one guy in the hole hit a shovel on the pipe.
I don't know.
Because they were working overnight.
I would imagine, though, that in Longmeadow, you deny the people access to their water.
Yeah.
How are they going to fill up their $400 cappuccino makers?
That's right. How are they going to?
How are they going to water their lawns? How are they going to do all the things that the people of Longmeadow desperately need every single day?
You know, speaking of lawns, it's that season again. Landscaper cone trailer season.
Oh, yeah.
I was driving down Westwood here yesterday. 3 of them. It was like zigzagging in throughout traffic. You got one guy at one property with the cone out there, and you got another one a little bit further down the road with traffic coming the other way, and it was like doing a video game, like a maze.
So what did you do? You just buzzed right through,
waited my turn, and went around. But the landscaper and the cone, they love that cone.
I know they do, but Steve, sometimes they have to do that so that people don't hit their vehicles or cause a problem.
I think
out of safety.
I think we should up the ante. I think we should put cones every 20 feet in a diagonal.
Yeah.
So you can alert people that there is a thing up ahead, as opposed to being on a blind curve with a cone sitting out just behind the trailer. And then you should also put road flares up.
I would think that'd be kind of counterproductive for the landscaper to
Why?
put cones.
How hard is it to do that?
Well, because you're trying to get as many lawns in as possible.
Yeah.
You don't want to finish a lawn, then go backtrack to pick up the cones you left behind. Then take care of the road flares. You can't leave those in the road. Now you're spending money on extra road flares. Now you're going back and forth, burning costly gasoline. You never get ahead that way. I mean, I understand what you're getting at, but, from a business standpoint, it's not practical.
I've always wanted to drive up the back of one of those trailers, too, like Dukes of Hazzard style.
Oh, yeah.
And have Waylon Jennings stop the scene and do a voiceover in the middle of it.
Well, there goes Steve again.
There goes
Causing
Nagle.
a problem for the Dukes.
Here he's having with his landscaper cone and his big dreams.
Oh, Boss Hogg ain't gonna like what just happened with Steve Nagle.
On Monday, Hamden District Attorney Tony Gallooni.
It's Anthony.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, show some respect.
Announced the conviction and sentencing of 37-year-old Christopher Anderson of Wales. A jury found Anderson guilty of multiple charges, including unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. On November 9th of 2022, Anderson was pulled over by Sergeant Adam Szymanski for speeding on Wilbraham Road in Munson. Anderson was arrested for operating under suspension. On Anderson's person, the officer found a scale typically used to weigh narcotics, which had a white powdery residue on its face consistent with that of cocaine. He also located 3 full wax heroin bags and 1 wax bag ripped open with a cut straw. Anderson's other pant pocket had a blue flip-style phone, and in his sweatshirt pocket, $2,763 in cash. As officers searched the vehicle further, they found several cut snorting straws with white residue, a small glass vial containing a white powdery residue later determined to be cocaine, 2 pocket knives, a 3rd digital scale, 258 bags of fentanyl, 7 grams of crack cocaine, 3 grams of powdered or soft cocaine, 5 oxycodone pills, and 1 diazepam pill, all to be won here on the Wales Price is Right.
I would like to serve 3 to 5 years in prison for time served.
Ding, 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 ding. Come on down. The District Attorney, Tony, said this outcome reflects my office's continued commitment to accountability for those who endanger public safety through the sale of deadly drugs. I commend the outstanding work of the Munson Police Department and Sergeant Adam Szymanski, whose diligence took a dangerous dealer off our streets and makes the town of Munson a safer place. I also want to thank Assistant District Attorney Kerry Kohler and District Attorney Elizabeth Betsy.
Liz.
Yeah, I know. Are we doing that now with all of them?
Well, I don't know, Steve.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of maybe being too familiar with Anthony Gallooni.
I can't wait until he calls you out on that.
Well, Steve, I'm prepared for it. I'm ready. I know it's coming.
That's worse than throwing acid in Harvey Dent's face. Calling him by a nickname he doesn't even go by.
I'm not proud of it, Steve. I'm really not proud of it. I wish I could take it back, but it's out there, and we're just going to have to deal with it.
Is that how you're taking it? Is that how you're going to do it?
It's all I can give you.
Let's see. What else is going on here? Let's talk about something fun. You want to talk about something fun?
Yeah, let's talk about something fun.
Are you just saying you want to talk about something fun, or do you want to talk about something fun?
I'm really just saying it.
Let's see. Ziploc. If you ever felt a little weird about tossing something in a microwave with a Ziploc bag, well, maybe you were onto something. A class action lawsuit is accusing Ziploc's parent company of misleading consumers by labeling its plastic bags as microwave safe and freezer friendly. The bags may shed microplastics when exposed to extreme temperatures, which can pose health risk. The problematic materials are polyethylene and whatever, those 2 things, which are made from petroleum. Well, who doesn't like a little petroleum in their hot pocket? That means 2 things.
I prefer it.
That's the idea is that while these bags can be put in a freezer or into a microwave, they're not safe under those circumstances, and the risks were not conveyed to consumers. The case is ongoing, so it's unclear if or how it'll be settled. There's so many things you shouldn't be putting in a microwave to begin with. Even regular plastic containers that you heat food up in emit some sort of microplastics into your food.
I don't usually cook things in a Gladware container, but in a plastic container anyway.
I usually use glass Pyrex.
I usually grab a regular ceramic bowl, regular
that'll
bowl.
Work too. It's microwavable.
A plate, yes,
yeah.
Microwavable.
Yeah.
Because I'm not against eating microplastics. I don't have a big problem with that. We're ingesting things all the time that are disgusting and not healthy.
I remember you talk about like water sources.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much crap in the water that there's no escaping it. You can have as many filters on your Brita filters or even natural spring water.
Well, think of all the chemicals they put in your water. Between fluoride and chlorinated water and other additives.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about regular everyday things.
Yeah.
A water in a plastic bottle is kind of, this is healthy for you. Yeah, well, you're also ingesting a bunch of microplastics while you're doing that.
Yeah, some of those plastics leach right into your water, and you're drinking something that's not healthy at all. On the other hand, you could drink right from your tap and drink nothing but toxic minerals and not even know.
There was also a thing where they were testing water and they were finding saccharin in the water. Do you know why that is?
Why?
Because people consume saccharin and then they urinate it, and then it goes back into the water, even though you've digested it all. Through a sewage treatment plant or whatever. That eventually gets discharged back in the water, and it's so even the treated water doesn't get treated to that level. So now you got sweet and low in your water, which to me that sounds like a dream.
It would for you because you're the only 40-year-old man that I know that still has 46-year-old man that drinks sweet and low with his coffee.
Well, I'm channeling my inner old lady.
I'll say.
Yeah.
When you get home, do you put on a house coat right away and some big slippers?
Absolutely. Like a muumuu. I wear a muumuu around the house.
I bet you do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And then I, like I said, I drink my Sanka coffee with it.
Good Lord.
Don't knock it until
I'm not knocking it, but when you
try it?
No, when you describe it, you sound like someone who is far older than me, and I know that's not true.
That and an Entenmann's pecan coffee cake.
All right, but you know what? Those are delicious.
They are very good. Yeah, cinnamon. It's got cinnamon.
Yeah, right.
Frosting.
Yeah, that's
pecans.
good. Yeah, that's awful good.
I'm telling you, I think I know what I'm doing. You're Pioneer Valley. That's my red flag.
Yeah.
We're talking about red flags. He's 46 and he drinks sweet and lows.
Yeah, I bet the AARP is just wringing their hands for you to turn 50.
I sit down at a restaurant and I order soda water and I'm like, because I don't like Diet Coke. Diet Coke is disgusting to me.
Okay.
But I want to have like a diet soda. So I ask for the little sugar. What do you call that?
The sugar, the
little packet. What do you call it?
It's like a little sugar caddy or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
caddy. Yeah, sugar caddy. And I put a sweet and low in.
And just regular
with a little lemon and soda water. Yeah,
really
and it turns it into a diet Sprite or whatever whatever a lemon
with cancer-causing saccharin.
Hey, listen, you're gonna get more. You're gonna get cancer from the plastic cup that they're serving you anyway.
So why add an additional cancer sandwich to your meal?
Well, who doesn't like a good cancer drink?
Most people would prefer not to order that.
What's worse, sweet and low, cancer-causing sweet and low inside a cancer-causing plastic cup, or 12 shots of espresso from Starbucks?
Well, at least the sweet and low is cheaper.
One will kill you faster. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, it's going to be a bit unsettled, as according to Dan Brown. Spot shower here or two with a high of 71. Tomorrow, some rain showers with a high of 73. It's 58 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Aw, yeah.
Hey, Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 7:54, and ZZ Top with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
A bit unsettled today with a high of 71. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 73. It's 58 right now in downtown Springfield. There is a water main break on Laurel and Converse Streets in Longmeadow, so don't go that way if you don't have to.
Rock 102 and the Westfield River Brewing Company want to hook you up with a pair of season passes to see all the great shows they got coming this summer. Bostix, Led Zeppelin, Completely Unchained, Back in Black, Foo Fighters, and more. Go to rock102.com before the end of the day on May 25th. We'll choose one winner at random, your chance to win season passes all summer long at the Westfield River Brewing Company. From Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
What else? What else going on? I don't know. I was supposed to have something. Was I supposed to have something?
Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of time here.
No,
We're
but we always like to have a little fun fact for you. I don't have any fun facts for you, though.
You save them all up for 9 o'clock?
Well, we have to. We have to save them for 9:10.
Right.
The fun facts of the day, the Bax of life, which, by the way, is a very popular segment now.
Is it? I mean, are people really responding to it? I don't know.
I've been getting some kudos on that. We needed something after 9 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood trash.
Yeah, my God. There's got to be something that saves that whole hour.
Let's see. 25-year-old guy in Houston named Leo Humphreys is trending on TikTok after he landed a big job interview, then realized he was being interviewed by AI. It's not clear what company it was with, but it was a large national brand looking for a news reporter. It was a video interview, and he got all dressed up in a suit and tie. He had a camera on him because he also makes money on TikTok, so some people think the whole thing was staged, as we were talking about earlier. But Leo says it really did happen, and others have since chimed in with similar experiences. He was excited when the interview started, but the mood changed as soon as he realized it was an AI voice. Then to rub salt in the wound, the AI started glitching and saying the name of the line over and over again on a loop. Oh, like a Max Headroom type of thing. It eventually fixed itself, but that's when the interview ended. It thanked him for answering its questions and said it's got a lot of great information from him, but he didn't actually get a chance to answer a single question. Leo posted an update that shows the follow-up email he got less than an hour after the interview ended. It says, "Hey, Henry," so not his name. That wasn't his name. Followed by, "It was a pleasure meeting you yesterday and learning about your background, goals, and passion for storytelling." See, they really need to tweak this AI thing.
I mean, how do you does the AI then determine whether you get the job or not?
Well, it probably takes a report and then reports it back to a person that then looks over the material. It's to save time from you having to sit there and interview. Well, but as an employer, why would you want to use something like that?
To me,
wouldn't you want to meet the person?
I would think that the human interaction of an interview is probably the most important thing of hiring somebody, as opposed to relying on a computer program to make the final determination. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know. This AI thing is wacky.
It's 7:57 on Rock 102.
Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Benjamin Moore Paint, Cabot Stains, plus rock-solid painting advice and expertise.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Well, folks, it was a hell of a day for baseball yesterday. Commissioner Rob Manfred announced he'll be reinstating both Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson, removing their names from baseball's permanent ineligible list. This will then allow the Baseball Hall of Fame to reconsider them for future enshrinement. Really? So soon? Seems like such a hasty decision. I mean, it's 36 years since Pete Rose accepted a lifetime ban for betting on baseball, and it's only been 104 years since Shoeless Joe was banned for the infamous Black Sox scandal in 1919. My question is, why the rush? You see, now that it's perfectly legal to bet on sporting events, you might say that this decision is long overdue. Others would tell you that betting on baseball or your own team or throwing a World Series negatively affects the integrity of the game. But then again, so does steroids, spitballs, corked bats, video cameras, pine tar, sign stealing, and banging on trash cans. And while all that stuff can be seen as integrity deficient, apparently you can't indict the dead. And since Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose are no longer with us, I think it's fair to say they've probably been punished enough. Baseball also lifted lifetime bans on 16 other now-deceased players, all of whom accused of either gambling on baseball or other infractions, but none of them are likely candidates for future enshrinement. So what does this mean? Does it mean Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe are suddenly going to rise from the dead and walk into the Baseball Hall of Fame? No, it does not. The Baseball Writers Association will still have to vote them in. And now there's nothing to prevent them from getting in, and other other than the normal hostilities and self-importance that has long been a trademark of the Baseball Writers Association for generations. All I know is, because he's been dead for 74 years, I expect Shoeless Joe's acceptance speech to be relatively short. And since Pete Rose only died last September, I'm pretty sure he already had something prepared. Either way, at least he'll finally get a better chance, which is better than no chance at all. It's just a shame he's not alive to see it all happen. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Gee, the propane really enhances the flavor of the steaks, said no one ever. Get a Traeger wood pellet grill today at Rocky's. Get true wood-fired grill flavor. Traeger, fully digital, the Woodbridge Grill, $700. at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic.
Springfield's classic rock. It's 8:10. And Fleetwood Mac with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
A bit unsettled today. Cloudy with some spot showers and a high of 71. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 73. It's 58 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm a busy boy this weekend.
Yeah, you know what? You're loaded up with events. and part of me is saying, better you than me.
Loaded up with events, and also this Sunday is the reschedule for that Maddox Batson concert I was taking my kid to.
Are you going to go?
Oh, yeah, I got the tickets. And get this, I paid $50 a ticket for these things, right? $50.
Okay.
With all the fees and everything.
It's actually pretty reasonable.
They are now going for $250 a piece. And I was trying to convince my daughter, I'm like, can we just sell them and make the profit? And we can, I'll buy you a CD of this kid.
I'll buy you a pony instead.
Yeah, I can't believe the price. I don't know what happened. I don't know if this kid's getting more popular. He's a 13-year-old country music star, which, believe me, would be my last choice to go to a concert. But you know what? Whatever. I mean, it was a cheap option for somebody to go see live music. And this is why I would never pay Taylor Swift prices.
And he was sick. And you guys didn't find out until you got there and at the theater, and it's canceled.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen again.
Well, let's hope not.
Could be sick. But yeah, I can't believe that a $200 markup on the tickets that I paid for.
Well, would that suggest that it wasn't sold out the first time?
It was sold out the first time.
So there's very few tickets that are available, and the ones that are there are now jacked up like 4 times.
Well, people were probably selling the tickets because remember I told you I ran into a well, I mean there was other people there walking up to the venue realizing that the show was canceled. Many of them weren't even from the area. It's New York City. People come from all over the place. If you plan a weekend in New York to go see a concert and do all this other stuff, it's probably highly unlikely you're going to come back for that. So there's probably people turning around and selling those tickets. That's why Ticketmaster has so many of them, because they have their secondary seller thing, which is another scam going on.
Of course it is.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Hopefully, I cannot wait to be in a theater full of screaming teenagers.
The way you sell it, it's hard to.
No better way do I want to spend my Sunday afternoon than in a theater full of screaming teenagers,
screaming kids in cowboy hats. I mean, that's even worse.
I know, it's not even like good music, but whatever. I sacrifice my time and I try to be a decent dad. Yeah,
I get it. But, we were talking about red flags about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Country music is one of those red flags for me.
I would say modern country music is a red flag.
Yes.
Because it's not even like, with all this, and you can say this for most pop music too, the use of auto-tune and making people sound better than they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a whole lot of real performers that are on the mainstream stages. Most of the real performers are the ones in these like indie clubs and traveling around doing actually doing live music, where you go to a concert with some of these nimrods that are singing these songs and they're not even singing them; they're lip syncing them.
They don't have to sing them. In fact, all they have to do is say a few words to AI, and AI can create the singing.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that's not happening. I guarantee it is.
A friend of mine just pointed out, and he's absolutely right about that. Probably a lot of moms there at this concert.
Again, this is going to sound so judgmental, and I don't mean it to be that way. If you were a mom, going to see a 13-year-old boy sing country music, or worse, you're an adult woman going alone
Okay, well,
to see a 13-year-old boy.
He's suggesting that these are mothers taking. There's probably some single moms in there. I bet you there are single moms at a country music show.
Yeah, but these are single moms that like country music. I know
maybe they don't, though. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's.
If I were single and I had a choice between going out with a woman who was beautiful and loved country music, or someone who would have been involved in some sort of industrial accident, but can't stand country music, I'd go for option 2.
Oh, stop it! Stop it!
Every time.
I bet you there was a single mom aplenty bringing their daughters to a 13-year-old's country music show. I don't know. This might be an opportunity.
I'm sure there is, but I'm pretty sure at one point Jenny and I had the conversation. You don't like country music, do you? Oh, hell no! And that's when you know it was love.
Listen, I can put the blinders up for the right opportunity.
You know what? Only if you're going into it knowing this is going to be a short-term relationship.
You've been divorced for how long? Huh? Really? And you like country music? All right, I can put that aside for a second. You know what you do? You try to convince her to like Johnny Cash and like all the country greats. Merle Haggard.
Yeah, right.
George Jones.
See, I can appreciate the old school country music. It's the new school country music, which is just, to me, it's like yacht rock with cowboy hats.
Yeah,
that's how it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. I'm not interested in any of this kid's music.
Given a choice between,
I don't want to be in a room full of screaming teenagers either, but I'm making the sacrifice to do that. However, if there's an opportunity for some single moms out there that are bringing their kids, hey, love connection. You never know.
Given the choice between a really hot, smoking-looking woman who likes country music and an ugly woman with 4 or 5 sexually transmitted diseases,
I have ignored bigger.
I would almost go for option 2.
I have ignored bigger red flags.
I know you have.
I know.
And that was your fault. And now who's kicking themselves in the pants?
Yeah, that's what. But at the time, you don't see them. Like I said, you put the blinders on. You don't see the red flags.
Once those relationships end, I'm going, whew, did I dodge that bullet? Otherwise, I'm stuck listening to the Keith Urban every day.
But what's life without a little bit of excitement into it? At least if you know that going in. Like, okay, you know what? Here's the red flag, but we can suspend. We can look past that for now. Yeah, I mean, you got to have somebody to commiserate with.
No, I get it.
Listen, we're both at this show. Both of our kids are screaming at this dink on stage, who's obviously being exploited by other adults.
Listen, I know you got to do things for your kids because your kids are your kids and everything. I get that. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But you also hope that kids go through many stages in their lives, and country music is just a brief blink of an eye.
That's true.
And that they outgrow it quickly.
Well, I don't know about that.
Before it seeps in and becomes part of their permanent lifestyle.
This is the age of their being indoctrinated by that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Here, you're forced to like this crappy music that we're playing for you.
Yeah. Next thing you know, in September, you're at the Big E. You're buying cowboy boots and a cowboy hat and a big belt buckle.
Let's get a little sample. Can you pull up this guy on Spotify?
Hold on a second.
I'm sorry, we don't use Spotify.
Let me for any one of our musical sources.
YouTube.
Who is this kid's name again?
Maddox, Maddox, Batson, Batson.
Maddox Batson.
I think "Tears in the River" is his number one ditty that he's got there going on.
Tears in the River. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
Yeehaw.
I can hear it already.
I like how a 13-year-old sings about heartache like he's been through a tough life.
Yeah. What's a kid crying about? His parents took his cell phone away. Doesn't have access for his PlayStation for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? You're selling out shows all across the country.
Yeah.
Yet you can't have screen time to watch your own videos on YouTube. That's it. You're grounded.
Yeah, you know what? I'm already through with this.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to sit there for how long is the show?
I don't know how big this. He's 13. How big can his catalog be? It's not like going to like an Aerosmith concert or something where they have probably 10 albums at least.
I want to rip my ears off and pour mercury into my ear into the holes.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
I cannot wait for this to happen.
Oh my god!
And the other, I didn't even want to get into this conversation. My main point was I was so busy this weekend. I'm also going to be hosting this thing on Saturday from noon to 6. It's Groovin' with Garrett.
Yeah.
And Mass Live did a story about it yesterday. It says this Saturday, May 17th from noon to 6 p.m., the grounds at Whip City Animal Sanctuary at 232 Montgomery Road will be turned into a music festival, family celebration and show to support one of Westfield's own. Groovin' with Garrett will be a full day of live music, food trucks, and dozens of raffles, all in support of Garrett Wheeler, a beloved 28-year-old local man who was recently paralyzed in a skiing accident. Hosted by Steve Nagle.
What?
Nagle. Nagel. Nagle.
That's not your name.
I think Mass Live screwed this up because I'm going to be at a farm, and that's the hair gel you use for a horse. Steve Nagle.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they're messing up your name for all the times you've messed up your own name to Mass Live?
You know what? I thought about that this might be a retaliation of some sort. Because how many dick goes in your pictures? There's one with me as Barry McOckener.
Yep, I remember that one.
At the Bright Nights.
I remember even Dick Nagle I thought was pretty
Dick
funny.
Nagle
That
was pretty good too. Yeah.
Dick and the gel.
So maybe this is some sort of retaliation on their part. But the more I think about the people that work at Mass Live, it was just a mistake.
You don't think there's some sort of axe to grind from long ago?
No, I don't think so. Well, there could be.
Well, that'll be interesting to see.
But those people don't even work there anymore.
No, they do not.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the sweet sounds of Maddox Bastard.
Jesus.
Bastard? Is that what his name is?
Yeah, Maddox Bastard. This is going to be a long afternoon.
Yeah, but you know what? Might be the single moms out there that could, pick and choose from.
Look!
While all the kids are rushing the stage, I'll have a plethora of women in the back.
Look for the mom with the cotton in her ears. That's the one.
Yeah, that's
the one you know is more your speed.
Yeah.
You don't want to be here either, do you? Oh my God, I don't want to be here at all. It's 8:23 on Rock 102.
Yes.
It's 8:27 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown will have the unsettling forecast for you.
A little bit later on, maybe even this hour, I don't know. We could give away some tickets to see comedian Tom Segura coming to the Mass Mutual Center on the 22nd of May. That's a big-time comedy show.
I am going to that show with a date.
You're going with the boss.
That's a date.
It's not really a date.
It's a man date.
I believe we have some provisions in the employee handbook that, kind of discourage inter-office dating.
Okay, it's two acquaintances who appreciate comedy that are going to the Tom Segura show.
Hey, you call it what you call it.
Which can be constituted as a date.
Yeah, you call it what you want to call it. I'm going to call it how I see it. If I have to make a complaint to HR, I will do it.
Well, listen, if anything happens, it wouldn't be the first time I've been screwed by this place. So...
And I'm going to guess it will not be the last.
No. What's a little extra?
That's right.
You're getting a little extra action on the side.
That's right.
Yeah. But, me and the boss, Alex, are going to the show.
Now, you've seen Segura before, right?
I have, yeah.
You saw him and Cotter in the same night.
I did, yeah. 2 in 1. When I told Tom Cotter, I'm sorry I can't stay and hang around with you, I have to go see a real comedian, Tom Segura, who's playing the Arena, not a measly 600-seat comedy club. There's thousands of people in that bigger room down the street.
They're waiting for him because he never lost to a dog act.
No, he's very funny. Very funny guy. He's got a new show on Netflix, too.
He does, and he's been doing that podcast with his wife for a long time too. It's actually really good.
But I'm looking forward to it. He's going to be right here in Springfield.
That's awesome.
And he will not do an interview.
Why?
So, I don't know. We're not cool enough, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I bet 5 years ago he would have talked to us.
Maybe he would have.
Or is he just too big and important?
I think he's too big and important.
Yeah, that can be.
You know what really kind of turned me off to him was he's been doing this thing where another friend of mine pointed this out to me, and I started noticing it too. Now that he's got a lot of money, he's referring to people as the poors. That would be everybody else that's not
that's not
rich
him,
and famous. And at first it was kind of funny, but now it's like, okay, now you're being a little, now you're just rubbing it in. But he's still a funny guy nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, he'll be performing in front of the Poors on the 22nd of May, and we'll have tickets to give away a little bit later on this hour.
Well, you never know. That date night might turn out the way I want it to.
News is next to Rock 102.
Here's your Western
8:33 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by the law offices of Mark E. Salamone. Injured? Tell the insurance company you mean business. Call 1-800-WIN-WIN-1 right now. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Traffic alert. Road hog. Converse and Laurel Street in Longmeadow. That is closed off right now because of a water main break. It is disrupting traffic in that area. Water main break in Longmeadow is causing some road closures. The Longmeadow Police states that the break is at Converse and Laurel. Nighttime construction work has been ongoing in the area this week, which makes me think it was one of those guys that was in the hole.
Could be.
And while the other guys stood around, there was that one guy in the hole yelling up, going, guys, I think I did something that I wasn't supposed to do.
It's a terrible situation when you're the guy that may or may not be responsible for a water main break. But if you're also, one of the hired help at one of the Longmeadow mansions, and your job was to wash the Bentley today, the whole day is shot.
Yeah, you're putting people out of work.
Yeah, because the golden hoses that normally come out of those mansions are not going to be able to work.
You don't have those guys doing your lawn, watering your lawn.
Nope.
No car washing. No. What else could you do with the water? No watering your flowers. Those botanical gardens that they got there in the backyards out there.
It's even going to be hard to give all of your exotic animals in your own backyard petting zoo enough water to sustain themselves. It's going to be a tough couple of days.
I think we make an assumption about Longmeadow as if it's some bougie rich town, but we're only seeing what we see throughout Converse Street and Route 5.
I've been to other parts of town.
Yeah, it's a real crap hole.
Steve, when you're driving in to work and you're going up Converse, have you ever accidentally taken a sharp left some of those neighborhoods over there?
Yes.
Have you ever gone, say, to other areas of town that may or may not have people far more wealthy than those people?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they're there.
They're there.
The filthy, stinking rich
But I mean,
are there.
You're doing it percentage-wise. You're like 10% of the town is bougie, and the rest of the 90%, you might as well be in Detroit for all you care.
Yeah, those are the ones living like on Maple Street.
Oh, yeah, Maple Street. Oh, my God.
That's the tough side of the tracks in Longmeadow.
What a dump Maple Street is.
Maple Street is not a dump.
No, I'm listen.
But there are some that are, and I would like to identify a few.
People are always saying, not all Longmeadow is like that. It's like we always say it's the bougie rich town.
Yeah.
And they're right. Not all Longmeadow is like that.
Yeah. I grew up in Longmeadow. Do you live there now? No, I can't afford to. Well, then here you go.
That's your problem.
I hear it.
Let's see. So that's causing some issues. A guy from Wales was arrested, or actually he's going to prison now. This has happened a couple of years ago, but now he's just being sentenced. On Monday, Hamden DA Tony Gallooni announced the conviction.
It's Anthony Gallooni.
Not that, according to you.
It's definitely Anthony Gallooni.
You see him in a CVS wearing sweatpants, and all of a sudden you're calling him Tony.
It was a mistake.
Was he wearing sweatpants?
No, he was wearing dress pants, nice shoes.
Dress pants?
He's wearing a dress shirt, no tie or jacket, because,
That's his relaxed mode.
That's him chilling.
Yeah. I don't... is he one of those guys you think Moses Lawn in the business socks and the shoes?
I don't think... no, I don't think he does. I think he probably hires someone to do his lawn.
Could.
He's too busy. He's too busy solving crimes to worry about his lawn. It'd be like the last thing in his mind.
Anyway, D.A. Galoni announced the conviction and sentencing of 37-year-old Christopher Anderson of Wales. A jury found Anderson guilty of multiple charges, including unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. Back on November 9th of 2022, Anderson was pulled over by Sergeant Adam Zemansky for speeding on Wilbraham Road in Munson. Anderson was arrested for operating under suspicion. When they searched the car, they found that he had a scale. He had white powdery residue on which had white powdery residue on its face of the scale. I thought it was white powdery residue on his face. Like you're asking a kid who ate the last powdered donut.
Yes.
And the kid says, "Not me," even though the evidence is all over his face.
Right. Like if he's ripping into the pixie sticks.
Yeah, no, this was on the scale. And then they found 3 full wax heroin bags, 1 wax bag ripped open with a cut straw. Anderson's other pant pocket had a blue flip-style cell phone. That's the real crime.
That's it right there.
And in his sweatshirt pocket, $2,700 in cash. As officers searched the vehicle, they found several cut snorting straws with white residue, a small glass vial containing a white powdery residue later determined to be cocaine, 2 pocket knives, a 3rd digital scale, 258 bags of fentanyl, 7 grams of crack cocaine, 3 grams of powdered or soft cocaine, 5 oxycodone pills, and 1 diazepam pill. All to be won here on the Munson Prize is Right.
I would like to speak to an attorney so I do not self-incriminate myself.
That's going to cost you at least $10,000.
You know, when you list out all of those things, I'm not an investigator. I'm not a cop, not a detective. But when you list out all of those things individually, they sound like a bunch of clues.
Yeah, it's like Blue's Clues for adults.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm Steve Burns all of a sudden.
Could be.
Offering affirmations to the lonely.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, somebody sent me pictures of the ticket prices for this Maddox Basson concert I'm going to.
Yeah.
The Loft, $208.69. Giggity. The High Rise, standing room only, $298.13. And a general admission ticket price Tier 2 while supplies last, $6,706.62. For a country music star I've never heard of.
And you've paid how much per ticket?
$50. It was $40, and then with the fees, it was $50. This was going back in January.
This shows you how stupid.
The show was supposed to be in April, and now it's been moved to now.
This shows you how stupid the concert industry has become. There's no reason to charge someone $6,700 for a ticket.
No, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, not unless Maddox Batson is going to mow your lawn after the show. And even then, he better do a very good job and do all the edging.
And deliver newspapers while he's still got time.
And that will maybe take up maybe a third of the cost.
And his math homework.
For a year.
Yeah. That's a 13-year-old kid getting $6,000 a ticket. Who's doing that?
Well, the reality is he's not getting anything close to $6,700
no, I'm sure
a ticket.
He's not.
He's probably getting the $50 at that it was the face value. Somebody else is making all that money, including the secondary seller.
Some big fat executive smoking on a big cigar. Going, hey, you know what? We can charge $6,000 for this Tier 2 ticket. Some idiot will pay that.
I think it's somebody will.
A homeowner.
Homeowner says what?
Oh, you got me. I didn't say what, though, did I?
It's all right.
A homeowner said roughly 200 teenagers broke into her home and threw a party while she was out of town. On Saturday around 10:30 p.m., Jamie Lewis said she got a call from Las Vegas Metro Police asking if she was having a party. Of course, I said no, and to be fair, I really thought it was a fake call. Lewis said it was not until her husband got a call from neighbors that she realized what was happening at her home. Seeing the videos and realizes that we needed to get home, we needed to cut our trip short. Lewis posted a video of the party online. The video shows 200 teenagers at her home partying. She said the teens kicked in a door in her garage. The feeling of being, first of all, vandalized and then just 1,000% being violated is something that you just don't ever want to have to deal with. Video from the neighbors shows police arriving at the home and the group of teenagers scrambling. Joe Neal, a neighbor, said some teenagers jumped over his back fence and ran through his yard. I'm 77 years old and I hear a bunch of noises and look in your backyard and look like there's a hell of a party going on and you weren't invited.
That's the real kick in the face. Having a party at your house and they didn't even invite you along.
Yeah, at least give some common courtesy to the neighbors and ask them to come over.
I mean, I don't mind a ripper in the neighborhood, but at least have me over.
Yeah. Neal said one teenager even pushed him aside as they cut the lock on his side fence to evade the police. Who comes to a party with bolt cutters? That is a good point. Who does come to a party? I guess obviously somebody who's breaking into a home and throwing a house party. Do. Yeah, that was a dumb question. I shouldn't have asked that.
I mean, if it's a normal party, like a family party, like you wouldn't bring the bolt cutters.
Yeah, it's like the same people. The question is, who would buy a dollar store pregnancy test? The same people who would buy dollar store condoms. Which one is more reliable?
Yeah, I'm going to say the pregnancy test probably.
Lewis said she filed a report with police, but she's taking it into her own hands to figure out the identity of the teenagers involved. I have to do something about this, she said. I cannot let this happen to somebody else. Lewis said that since sharing her story online, she's heard similar stories from the area. It's called a mansion party, and these kids go from house to house, sometimes multiple houses in the same night. They charge money at the door, and then they bring in a DJ. A local TV station out there learned of similar stories across the country. In March, there was a station in Nashville that reported a party that caused more than $100,000 worth of damage after breaking into and partying inside a newly built empty home. In 2022, in Goodyear, Arizona, another news station reported on a group of teens who broke into a vacant $1 million home to host a massive party. Lewis says she doesn't know how the group knew her home would be empty, so she's hoping that by sharing her story, she can prevent this from happening to anybody else.
Oh, gee, I don't know. Did you go on social media and say, hey, can't wait to go on vacation between these dates?
That's kind of what I was thinking. That she knew. Somebody knew.
Somebody could figure it out.
Yeah.
And once you do that, once you let people know that you're not home, that's when these kinds of problems happen. That's why you should never ever tell anybody, can't wait to go to Europe next week. That's a mistake.
I can't wait to be out of the country for a month.
The best thing to do is actually post pictures after you've come back.
Yeah, that might be the better option.
That is the better option. If you're so hung up on letting everybody know where you've been, wait till you've been there first.
Police confirmed they responded to her home Saturday night for a juvenile disturbance. They said they issued 2 citations, one for a vehicle stop and another for a person stop. Wait a minute. A house full of teenagers and police only caught 2?
It's kind of like when you hear about like the Blarney Bash and there are only like 4 arrests.
Yeah.
You know that there were more underage drinkers.
Yeah, most of them scattered like cockroaches when you turn the lights on.
Of course.
Yeah.
As soon as someone figure out that the cops are on their way, everybody bolts.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, cloudy, chance of a spot shower or 2, high is 71. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 73. It's 58 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:52 and AC/DC with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be cloudy with a spot shower here or 2 this afternoon, and tomorrow rainy with a high of 73. It's 58 right now in downtown Springfield.
Yeah, I know we're going to give some things away here in just a moment, but I know we got some time to fill because I don't want to have everybody like call now and then I'm waiting around forever to answer the calls.
There's always somebody who does.
Yeah, I know. I guess, just the insinuation that we're about to give away like Tom Segura tickets is going to have people like calling now. And
see, you already said it, and now people are going to be calling, and what are we going to have to do?
Well, they're just going to have to
on all of them.
I don't want to hang up on any of them, really, but I want everybody to be patient here. I mean, we'll get to counting to 10 people and then getting all the information and telling you how you can win.
You know, I was thinking about this, and maybe I should run this by the boss, since him and I are going on a mandate to the Tom Segura show together.
Yeah.
We could turn this into a business dinner and maybe take the company credit card and go get dinner at Chandler's or something like that before the show.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think that would make a whole lot of sense. Well, why not spend company money on two deserving people who
yeah, well,
should be rewarded with a giant steak that cost $100.
All right, but let's say the company does not want to spend money on your $100 steak.
Yeah.
There are other places that you can go downtown to get a good meal.
No, you gotta up the ante here. We gotta. It's gotta be bougie.
Okay, all right. So Kennedy Chicken is out, right?
I don't know. They have pretty good chicken.
They do have pretty good
there.
chicken. I would take that back.
Well, Nadim. We could go to Nadim's. That's
Nadim's is
bougie.
terrific.
That's
yeah.
pretty bougie.
It's bougie enough. Sure.
Bougie enough. Good food.
Oh yeah.
But I was really hoping for a place that overcharges for stuff.
Yes, that's
Yeah. Nadim's. That's a reasonable price for the food.
Oh, without
there.
question.
And you get a lot of bang for your buck. But I'm talking about overspend, and it's more about wasting the company's money than it is about anything else.
You don't have to explain it to me, Steve. I completely get it, and in most circumstances, I would agree with you that that's a great opportunity to spend more than you should be allowed. But maybe you don't get there. Maybe it's all booked for the night.
Didn't you years ago go to a steakhouse in New York City on the company dime?
Yes, we did.
What steakhouse was that?
We went to Morton's.
Morton, you are a nincompoop.
And it was delicious.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. Now, among the people that I was with at the time, one person had a problem with going there because it was one of these places that suggested you wear a jacket.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, listen,
Morton's.
I've been to Morton's. The Morton's is a terrific place to go. We'll go there. Company pays for it. Bada bing, bada boom. We're good.
I went to a Morton's in Saratoga once.
I've been to a Morton's in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I've been to the Morton's in Hartford when it was open, and also New York. Haven't had a bad meal yet.
Well, we got Chandler's, which is just as good as a Morton's. I think we should. Be.
Make sure you get appetizers.
Yeah, appetizers, desserts,
and a bottle of wine that neither one of you touches.
Right. You just let it sit there and aerate like the snobs we are.
Yeah, right.
You know what? We'll aerate it and let it sit there, but we won't drink it because it's still not good enough for us. And neither of us drink
This
wine.
wine is 12 years old. Bring us some new wine.
Yeah, bring us some brand new Rianiti.
You mean it comes in colors,
yes,
too?
So do I.
Comedian Tom Segura is going to be at Mass Mutual Center May 22nd. Tickets are on sale now, but we happen to have a pair of tickets to give away right now to the 10th caller at 293-1021. Good luck to you.
Now you're calling.
Now we're doing it.
Yeah, now we're doing it.
On Rock 102.
Caller.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 9:12 in the outfield with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
I wonder if Josie ever got tested for STDs when she came back from that vacation.
Far away?
Far away.
I'm telling you what.
Here's the boyfriend or whatever going out checking out the older chicks. And
I got to tell you,
know what?
There's a lot of questions that need to be answered in that relationship.
Are you ready for some fun facts, Bax?
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it hits you in the nads. The backs of life.
The backs of life.
The backs of life. We're not always kings and queens.
We don't even play the whole song.
No, and no one needs to hear the whole song.
It's a lyrical masterpiece.
No. It's more of an masterpiece.
I like the term spew in there.
Yeah, no, that's good. That was very
spew.
That was a moment of cleverness.
And rhyming it with Rock 102. Genius.
Unbelievable.
All right, number one. In 1997, 24.6% of 12th graders smoked cigarettes daily. In 2023, only 0.7% did, and 5.8% vaped. Back in the day, lighting a smoke made you look cool, and now you're just sucking on a glow stick like you're prepping for an orgy at a rave-themed Build-A-Bear. Have you ever been to a rave-themed Build-A-Bear orgy?
Can't say I have.
I got a buddy. By the time a cat, number two. By the time a cat is 9 years old, it's only been awake for about 3 years, which is still more than your average OnlyFans subscriber who wakes up just long enough to wipe off and re-up the credit card.
Well, they do expire.
Well, you got to update the date and the CVV code. Number three. Old men who hang around construction sites are called unmarried. It's basically Italian for a retired dude with nothing to offer but back pain and passive-aggressive grunts while staring at sweaty men with shovels. Number four. ABBA, Bob Marley, Janis Joplin, Queen, and Snoop Dogg never won a Grammy.
Really?
Yet somehow, some TikTok clown who moaned into a pitch filter while humping a ukulele took home Artist of the Year. The Grammys are just now high school superlatives with better cocaine. Number five. Julianne Moore's Oscar-winning film Still Alice was directed by a guy who started in gay porn. Which makes sense because even with the saddest scenes, the camera still knew how to find the money shot. And there you go! That's your fun facts for the day!
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it hits you in the nads. The backs of life.
The backs of life!
The backs of life. We're not all.
Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.